figure out the mechanics of this. All right, now, can y'all hear all right? Yeah. Okay. Of course, you know, really for Ron, to be the president of War College means you're just the oldest colonel. Most people shy away and try to figure out how to change their record, so they change their date of rank. You have to be the president of War College, and therefore, in his case, play more golf, or in my case, figure out how to fool around more and not. Look at that, my own phone rings. How about that? I really appreciate being here. You know, I know most of you and see most of you a lot, and most of you get tired of hearing me talk because you hear me talk a lot. So I'm going to try something new today. I'm going to unveil this for the first time, so bear with me. Because what I'd like to do is talk briefly a little bit and provide some time for some questions at the end. We're working hard at Fort Hood to take the great strategic plans that we have had over time that General Cone really honed in with a precision point into his vision, which I'll talk about in here in just a second, and all the tasks that support it, and with the great work that the garrison did under Colonel Bill Hill's leadership and now Mark Freitag, and put those two together in what we're going to call Fort Hood 2020. And it's a long-term plan that provides consistency over time that resonates well not only on Fort Hood with the soldiers, family members, and civilians, but more importantly our surrounding community partnerships, our members of Congress, and everything else. And we're looking at a holistic method by which we define Fort Hood, its future, and all of the things that support it over time. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and we're going to spend some time here over the next few weeks really putting the meat underneath this thing, and therefore can spend some time socializing it out. So I appreciate this opportunity to test it out in a friendly audience here. General Cone is a great boss, and he left me with all of the authority and responsibility I need to execute missions on Fort Hood as the acting senior commander on his behalf, and happy to have the accountability to do so. And just to show you what a great boss he is, you know, he could be calling me or writing me all the time. I've had 3 video teleconferences, 2 phone calls, and less than a dozen emails in the 4 months that he's been gone. And that's the mark of a great boss who trusts his subordinates and knows how to let us execute. And that's a great thing, especially for guys like Ron and me and the people with whom we have the opportunity to serve, because we can really move out and do things. And General Cone's vision is pretty simple. He has 4 points to it. We're America's armored corps headquarters, 800 some strong, but it's a joint, capable expeditionary corps headquarters, as they're demonstrating right now, able to unplug from their daily duties at Fort Hood, Texas, and move out on behalf of our nation's interest and execute operations, combat operations, stability operations, or any other host of operations. We serve as a proponent for the armored forces of the United States Army. We run a heavy warfighter forum and a whole host of other things. And last and extraordinarily important to the way we do business, because we couldn't do it without it, is his vision for us and our mission to execute it is that we serve as the premier installation and community for our soldiers, family members, and civilians, and we do it in partnership with our surrounding communities in order to make it bigger and better and consistent for all of us. So that's a pretty simple vision, but it allows us the opportunity to execute operations on his behalf. Now, being the bright boy that I am, I listen to what General Casey says, and now General Thurman, the Forces Commander, says, and if you look at the way they've outlined their vision and mission statements, it's pretty simple. They keep it under 4 big bins: sustain, prepare, reset, transform. General Thurman's done the same. So as I said, being the bright boy that I am, I listen to what my bosses say, I write it down, and then I do it. So, cleverly enough, Fort Hood 2020 is going to have 4 interesting bins into which all of our tasks fall. And I bet you can figure them out. Sustain, prepare, reset, transform. See, there's a measure to my success here. Write it down and do what your boss says, and then figure out how to make it work at your level. And that's what we're doing. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about each of those 4 things and where we are on Fort Hood and some of the initiatives we're trying. And then we'll see where this goes. So, sustain. Sustainment is all about our soldiers, family members, civilians, and the programs that support them. Most of you know that we have met our retention goals for fiscal year 2010 already. The Army has met its recruiting goals for 2010 already, and we're doing it with an extraordinarily high-quality enlisted force. You know, we're up at about 95% high school graduates, high school equivalency, which is a great thing. We are attracting young men and women in droves and retaining them in the enlisted side as well as the officer side to match what our society requires, our citizens require, and operations overseas require. That's a great testament to the Army. More importantly, it's a great testament to the society that sends us their young men and women to be soldiers. We continue to sustain, and we have renewed, as you know, General Cohen re-signed the Army Family Covenant. Those programs that are important to sustain our soldiers and family members over the course of multiple deployments, redeployments, the reintegration period, and everything else that goes on as part of that. Those programs are very important, and there's a pretty big laundry list of those things. They have been fed over the years, a lot of them top-down, but most of them are bottom-up good ideas to refine them, and most importantly, none of them could be executed without the support of our surrounding communities and the support of our members of Congress who fund them for us. So the Army Family Covenant is important for us, and we're going to continue to refine those things and make them better for Fort Hood specific and Central Texas specific things. Many of you know we've worked hard on this notion of resiliency. Many of you visited the Resiliency Campus and all of those other initiatives. Many of you have helped us in a wide variety of ways through donations and time and everything else to build those programs that allow soldiers and family members and civilians to build this resilience through spiritual, behavioral, and physical fitness and innovations in those things. We're seeing measures of success in that. We're continuing to evaluate it. But most importantly, what we want to do is build this strength, this resilience in these people before the event happens, so that they take the stress that comes from deployments and combat operations and separations and turns them into strength. You know, everybody here has stress in their lives. We've all been hit in the head playing football, or had a car accident, or had a family member die, or something that's given you stress. Successful people take that stress and turn it for good, don't let it turn into a disorder, and that's what we're trying to do with our soldiers, family members, and civilians through these initiatives, and we appreciate that. You've seen the new housing, and I, unfortunately now for the first time in my 30 years, we're in a brand new house, the first occupant. So you've seen a lot of our new housing. We continue to work hard in new housing as well as sustaining what we have. And you've seen the landscape change in the barracks and the operations areas and everything else. As part of this Fort Hood 2020, we're going to rework our engineering priority business and work hard on campus-like barracks complexes for each of our brigade-sized units on post. 4th Brigade of the 1st Cav, for example, has one now. We want to work that, and I'm working hard with Dan Allen, my friend, the commander of the 1st Cav Division, on their end of the street, so that we, over the long haul, the next 10 or 15 years, develop and build these world-class facilities for our world-class soldier athletes, that they're out there, that they have the ability to train, fight, live, and prosper in this environment. We talked about the housing, but we've also done it with sustainability. We're very proud that our new housing, like the one I live in, is LEED Silver certified. That's environmentally important for sustainability efforts. We have a great recycling program that we partner with the community on, and we're working on other interesting industry initiatives on developing alternative means of developing electricity and other things using waste and all kinds of other products. So we're excited about that. We want to continue the green space initiatives. John, I know you're in here somewhere, John Crutchfield. But we've been working hard on those things to create green spaces so that we have bike running paths and parks that stretch from Lampasas all the way to I-35 and run right through Fort Hood. And that's a long haul thing that we want to do. We think it's important and develop in partnership with